Formative and summative assessment online is part of the video series by virtual campus teachers on effective blended learning practices. What are some tools that help teachers track student progress and provide timely feedback?
The main online tools used in math classes are Desmos, Grasshopper Math, GeoGebra, and Delta Math. We can watch the students' progress in each of these platforms and give live feedback either in the platform or using direct messages in the Zoom chat. Sometimes, if it is a common mistake or something I see many students struggling with, I will talk to the class and possibly share my screen to do a demonstration for that activity. Shared folders are used between the teacher and each student for their submissions. We will then keep track of their work they completed using Gradebook and follow up with them if there is something missing or they are having challenges with. Here's an example of Delta Math. This platform shows the percent complete. So it allows you to look in and see who might have struggled with the activity and not completing any work. It also allows you to go into each individual student to see what they might have struggled with. So maybe, for example, with the first student, it says 2 out of 5. Maybe they actually did way more than that, but they only had gotten 2 correct at that point. So they had stopped working because it was becoming overwhelming for them. So that is a student that I would go back and provide feedback with individually. Or if it's across the board, then I can address it as a class. Desmos allows us to see what they have completed and give feedback. The cells marked with the circles tells me that the students have completed the work. The blank cells show me that the students have not completed those particular slides. The ones with the corners are where I had given feedback to students during the activity. And the ones with the dashes are slides that students may not have needed to do any work on. GeoGebra, like the other online tools, allows you to see the students' progress as they work through a task, as well as the work that they have completed. An activity like this allows the students to try many problems by piecing together a puzzle of the solutions. It allows them to make mistakes and self-correct at the same time.
Using a reflective journal, such as Seesaw, allows students to tell you what connections they have made from a learning activity seen in class. These kind of questions push a student to go beyond the mechanics of applying notions learned in class and gets them to come up with some general knowledge that they can apply to other notions, even to other classes. Seesaw is a very nice tool to use as it allows students to respond in several ways: typing, drawing, using the audio recording or the video recording. They can even upload a document or a picture. And teachers can respond with just about as many tools. As this is an informal way of evaluating student, I suspect that students are less pressured to answer using Seesaw. Concept mapping is also a great tool to have students make connections between topics under the same subject. This comes from the application Mindomo, but there are several others available on the internet. I often give students the keywords and ask them to add connectors to form complete sentences. This way, they see that one word, for example, displacement, is a vector quantity, and it can be found using the equation delta D is equal to V times delta T, which happens to be the area under the curve of a velocity time graph.
How do you check that students have understood a concept in an online class?
One method I like to use to check student understanding is to have low stakes pop quizzes. I refer to these as low stakes because I always allow students to individually choose if they would like their work to count towards their mark. In my mind, there are several benefits to these. It provides students with a sense of how well they compare with respect to the content expectations. It provides me with information about how well the class understands the concept as a whole and to decide if we need to revisit it. And it also provides incentive for students who would like to diversify their mark portfolios to keep up with their work.
How do teachers provide assignments and tests in online learning?
Summative assessments are implemented in two ways: when students do work on their own and when they are supervised. Low-stake assessments, like assignments, quizzes, and homework, are given to be completed within a certain time frame. Synchronous students will be given work during class time to be completed by a specified deadline. Asynchronous students will have more flexibility while still maintaining the weekly guidelines. More high-stake assessment, such as tests, will be done on a specific date with supervision of either a school personnel or through a Zoom call where they are monitored by their teacher. In these now rare cases, much more common during the pandemic, students will be supervised through the online learning platform. When an evaluation is sent to schools for in-school supervision, the test is sent a few days in advance. Where online supervision is required because a student is not at school, the test is sent just a few minutes before it is scheduled to be written so that the responsible adult may print it. The tools or platforms mentioned already, such as Desmos, GeoGebra, Classcake, and others, allow students to write makeup work during out-of-class time as well. Of course, checking in during time together can help in the validation of the work done online is authentic and similar to the work submitted.
How can teachers be sure that an online assessment produces valid results?
Following assessments up with individual student meetings provides an opportunity for the teacher and student to ask clarifying questions. Although these can take a lot of time, it does provide insight into the student's process of thought and understanding beyond mechanics. It also allows students to voice their thoughts or concerns about the results and can open the door for deeper conversations about their assessment practices.
A valid assessment should have good coverage of the criteria, including concepts, skills, and knowledge that are relevant to the purpose of the assessment. A test should measure the strategies and include some comprehension questions. An online assessment must be written in a way that students cannot just Google the question and copy the answer. Questions asked should measure the application of knowledge, involve some complex tasks, and be linked to expected outcomes. We must ensure assessments are similar to the work students have been producing during in-class work, activities, and homework. Online assessment is also not restricted to questions and answer, but can involve some greater project-based activities and presentation in a form of podcasts, video recordings, and research papers. During class time, an informal evaluation of the student's understanding can be done by asking questions to which students respond via the private chat, a Google form, a survey, or other online tools like Classcake and Desmos, where you can see their thought process and use it as an evaluation.